Everyone, welcome to another diecast showcase. So today's episode will be Friday finds episode, and it's going to be last couple hauls from the two thrift stores I habitually frequent to find some older and unusual stuff, basically. So got a fair amount of cars to check out, basically. So we'll get right into it. So first, I did pick up a trio of slightly larger scale cars. Something that does pop up in thrift stores in my area, a fair amount. So first vehicle we're going to be checking out is the first out of three Burago 1/43rd scale Street Fire line, so your basic 1/43rd model cars. So first one here is a Mercedes A-Class model that we do not get in real life, I guess, should we say, in North America. So a little subcompact Benz hatchback, very interesting panoramic paneled roof. A fair amount of details, lens fronts, painted rears, if we're talking about the lights, got mirrors, it's got some 7-spoke wheels, which are fairly similar to the optional sport design wheels that are available for this model in Europe. Oh, actually, no, this is a Maisto. So sorry, I was pretty sure this was a Burago, but it is a Maisto, actually. So my apologies. So we've got 1/43rd scale Maistos as opposed to the 1/43rd scale Buragos, which are very similar. And I was kind of surprised because these are not actually the Burago standard design wheels. So actually it's pretty cool because I don't think I have 1/43rd Maisto cars. So so we've got this nice dark silver Mercedes A-Class. Put this in the back here basically because they do take up a little bit more space. Second Maisto 1/43rd scale that was included in one of these grab bags would be this Mark 1 Audi TT Roadster. As you can see, the wheels, despite being fairly basic and cheap, are actually fairly close to the infamous Audi 17-inch Fat 5s that were available on the TT and were quite popular in the Volkswagen tuning scene as a OEM Plus wheel upgrade for like Mark 3 and Mark 4 Golfs and Jettas, so on and so forth. This one's got a nice color combo, I find. You got the nice gloss black paint with the tan interior. You can see the steering wheel is black, separate piece. Kind of bizarre that it's a 2-spoke steering, but hey, whatever. You've got a little bit of silver paint for the roll bars behind those seats. Side markers are done. Again, front lens lights, rear painted, got the badging, all that good stuff. These are plastic base, obviously, plastic wheels as well. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting point because obviously everybody's got their own opinion on the 1/43rd scale 1/43rd scale Hot Wheels, pricing point, 25 USD. Around here, they're about 30 bucks Canadian plus tax, so give or take about 35 tax in, 34.50 actually. So they're not cheap, but they're not the most expensive 1/43rd scale vehicles that are available out there. Far from it. And if ever you're interested in price points for these much more basic ones, these basic 1/43rds, just to give you an idea, these are about the price of a Hot Wheels Premium, be it these Maistos or the Buragos, basically. So a little bit less expensive than the pullbacks that Maisto and example Welly or Kinsmart like to do, or Jada. By the way, Jada also. We're talking about maybe half the price of a Jada in the same scale or thereabouts. So these are really cheap, but you can see where they cut corners. So you've got the lensed lights that you can see on this nice Dodge Magnum. The wheels are very basic. No air going through them between them spokes, right? You do have the painted details, you have the badging. This one even has a little bit of silver for those exhaust tips, as you can see. You know, you got a few fun details. You know, you got a little license plate, and you can see that it's a RT, so it's got the Hemi, as you can see here. You've got that little chrome strip on the side. The mirrors are there. You know, the badging's not bad. Obviously, the little Dodge logo is a little bit off center on this one, but you know, for the price point, it's probably gonna. These are probably worth what, brand new in box at retail price. Probably you guys in the States would pay $5 or $6 for these if they're available in the US, and in my neck of the woods, these are probably something like $6 or $7 each in Canadian dollars. So not a bad bang for the buck. As mentioned, you know, price of a Hot Wheels Premium and you get this. So which one's more worth it? The metal on metal rubber tire but smaller scale, or these ones that do have more features but are definitely dumbed down if we're talking about, you know, what is not obvious if we're talking about curbside style models. So yeah, these are my three newest 1/43rd scale acquisitions. Pretty cool. You know, Mercedes A-classes and new casting I did not have in the collection. TT Roadster I do have a Welly in about 1/60th scale. Say 1/64, but it's more 1/60th scale, in different color, so that's cool. And the Magnum, well, you know, I do have a Maisto version, Maisto design. It's part of a transport, but yeah, this is the first stock one that I acquire, and definitely my favorite out of the three. Let me know which one is you guys' favorite. So now we're going to be falling into the 1/64th scale stuff. So I did pick up a couple cars that are actually just going to be put aside for wheel donors. First one is another NASCAR. This one's a little bit more basic than the couple other ones that I picked up with the rubber tires and whatnot. This one has plastic tires. It's got the Goodyear Eagle yellow lettering, plastic base. Not sure of the brand on this one, basically. Not sure. It's got a 2012 licensing, and it's a 2011 Impala. You know, it's got the ARP livery. Not sure. I know nothing of NASCAR, so if you guys know which driver's signature that is, well, you can definitely let me know in the comments. But you know, it's a nice looking one. I kind of feel like this is one, you know, that's in a decent enough condition that could be like the first actual NASCAR that I straight up add to the collection. But we'll have to see down the road what's actually going to happen in that sense, because you know, these NASCAR wheels are really cool to use for wheel swaps on you know, muscle cars, you know, like basic mainline muscle cars that could use a wheel upgrade. So we'll see what happens on that front. And the other wheel donor that I actually picked up, it's kind of an unusual find. Not very not something we see very commonly in North America, be it Canada, the US, or otherwise, but something that's really popular in Europe. I actually picked up this little Norev. Definitely not in the best of conditions, but it's a Renault 4L, as you can see. 1964 model year, and it's 1/64th scale. These are true scale cars. So these little French cars are very, very popular. Surprisingly, this is the kind of like the most symbolic and the most popular car that's used like in Madagascar for taxis and personal cars combined. They produce them the longest, very long time actually. This one is unfortunately missing the rear bumper. It's also, as you saw, missing part of the front bumper, but these are really, really nice. Norevs are really well made. They're not super expensive. I mean, they would come up probably sent here to about the price of you know, a Mini GT or a Global 64 model. I mean, they're rubber tire, plastic base, true 1/64 as mentioned. You've got some lensed front lights, nice detail throughout. You know, obviously you can see chip paints and whatnot there. But yeah, if it was in better condition, I'd definitely keep this one as is, because it's a really cool car. Well, you know, it's very retro, it's unusual, it's kind of stuff that I really like. But I'm probably just gonna poach the wheels off this because I'm pretty sure that these would look great on again, an old classic that could use an added touch of realism. So we're gonna be using this on some type of lucky candidate basically eventually. Now we'll get into the other 1/64th scale, less unusual cars, I guess. I did pick up a couple Matchbox cars as part of the haul. Both Chevys and both trucks. First one that I picked up is one that I'm pretty happy to get. This is like an OBS generation Tahoe, again from Matchbox. So you got the Bros Farms, which is actually a livery that is coming to a line of, I believe, green light cars that are there to celebrate kind of like the agricultural, American companies that provide food for, the masses and whatnot. So it's pretty cool. Definitely one of the generation of Chevy and GMC trucks that I grew up as, seeing a bunch on the road when I was a kid. These were released when I was in my teens. So, if we're talking about the real model, this generation, I believe this started in 1992 or 3, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I would have hit my teen years when this was released approximately. So yeah, so not in bad shape. The front axle's a little bit dodgy, but the rear is perfect. And I mean, I straightened it out a little bit, so, it's not as bad as it was. One wheel was really tucked all the way inside the wing, and I kind of straightened out the axle as best I could. It's not perfect, but, for display purposes, looks fine. Of course, since it has mirrors, this little model, well, you got the paint chips on each respective extremity of the mirrors, but besides that, I mean, yeah, paint's all there, and it's a really nice shade of red. Especially, you can see probably how rich the clear coat is on the rear here. It's got a nice metallic sheen, very, very nice, much nicer than it shows on the video. And yeah, so it's a cool little addition. I did manage also to pick up a newer generation Chevy truck. This one, though, is a Silverado, so Silverado 1500. This guy's been out a little bit. And I know that there's an exclusive silver one that came in one of the Matchbox play sets. Not sure I remember which one, but no, actually in a case, a 24 car case, you would actually get one of these. And surprisingly enough, Majorette also put out a case that also had this included, and in the same color, the silver. Well, actually, it's more gray on the Majorette side. But yeah, it's kind of funny that both brands kind of put out a case, storage case, with the same type of exclusive. It's more like a color wave than an exclusive, but either way, it's pretty cool. Same wheels as on the Tahoe, those off-road 6-spokes. They do look good. They're good-looking off-road wheels. They kind of look stockish, so I kind of like that. It's got the sunroof, black bed, front details, rear details. Actually, sorry, rear details and front details are pretty minute, but, they still did the bow tie, and they did a little license plate, and, weirdly enough, no license plate in the back, but hey, whatever. It's all good. This one's pretty much mint. No paint chips, no defects. I mean, there's maybe the slightest imperfection right here on that tailgate, but I mean, that could very well be a factory defect because it looks like a paint chip, but it's actually cleared over. So I'm assuming it's probably a factory defect. Either way, great looking truck, great stock looking truck. I'm pretty happy to add that one to the collection. Now we'll fall into some Maistos. I did manage to pick up a fair amount of Maistos, including some really interesting and unusual castings. And I'm always a fan of the unusual stuff. There's some stuff that's not so unusual, but did manage to pick up a couple of interesting ones for you. So let me just gather them here. Yeah, that's pretty much all the Maistos right there. So a few Maistos to show you there. I'll start with the unusual stuff. We'll finish with the stuff that's a little bit less, less out there if we're talking about casting type. So first and foremost, we're going to be looking at, another truck, since we just looked at a couple of trucks. This is one I don't think was produced by any other brand in this scale, including Hot Wheels. And maybe Matchbox, I'm not even sure, but this is a concept truck that I came out in the early 2000s. It's the Ford Mighty F350. So a big. This is like a follow-up to the Power Stroke concept that came out in the late 90s. And it's a precursor to the, I think the probably mid 2000s to late 2000s generation Ford heavy duty pickup trucks. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So this one does have the kind of like 8-dot looking but convex Matchbox looking wheels, like the 80s Matchbox looking wheels, but they're convex instead of being concave. Both the Power Stroke concept truck and this one both were done in a very bright yellow. You do have tow apparatus in the back for a gooseneck trailer, short box, very, very big cab. And you've got the Ford logo in the back, but no light details. You've got some silver for the huge grille. Little Ford logo is there as well. It's kind of hard to see, but it is there. And again, a little bit of silver for the lower body cladding to really respect what the prototype looks like. It's not in the best of conditions. The wheels have seen better days if we're talking about the chrome applique there. And you do have a few chips here and there. But overall, it's very unusual casting. And yeah, it's kind of cool. I like this era concept cars because I used to pick up like Rob Report and whatnot, the yearly breakdown of the whole car offering. If we're talking about new cars sold in Canada, so I'd pick up that yearly and did so for decades. And yeah, all these prototypes were part of that first section of the book, and it's pretty cool to be able to see these concept cars that seem so outlandish, and then maybe 5 to 10 years later, see how they inspired the real models out of the line. Another example of another cool concept that's completely forgotten, but that I find looks really, really cool. We have this Buick Bengal concept car. So basically, we're talking about, again, concept car came out around the same era, early 2000s, part of the organic design movement that is all about rounded shapes and curves and things like that, and as little angular lines as possible. So look, don't ask me the specs, I'm really not sure, but overall, you've got a fair amount of details. If we're talking about lights, grill does lack a little bit of details because this is the infamous Buick grill. It should all be silver, but the lights are done. There is an interior, and the wheel does have air passing through it, the steering wheel, so that's already a big improvement on many. Windshield is, as you can see, not the best conditions, but it is straight, which is always nice to see on a convertible. Nice hefty A-pillar and windscreen surround, which makes it much harder to crush than example, Matchbox, Mustang, or Camaro convertible, or a Hot Wheels convertible Challenger, or Cuda, or a Cobra. Those are so easy to flatten out, or even the older 65 Mustang or 64 Mustang convertible, basically. Those are really brittle, if we're talking about windscreens. I'll give you an example of that through the next concept car we'll be checking out, which is the Chevy Bel Air, I believe. Yeah, Chevy Bel Air concept. Another Maisto. So a lot of Maisto today. More than I thought, because I was pretty sure those bigger cars were Buragos, but yeah, okay. Yeah, so there you go. See how this one does not have a surround that's part of the metal, part of the casting, but it does have reinforcements on the side with those little tiny additions. We're talking about those side windows. Again, you know, the steering wheel is definitely better than what we're seeing in other, you know, mainline brands. Interior is pretty well molded, and it does have the twin hump that debuted on the C1 Corvette in '53. Yeah, so this was supposed to be like a, you know, the part of the neo retro wave, you know, with the PT Cruisers and HHRs and Prowlers and all kinds of retro looking cars. This was supposed to be a comeback of the Bel Air, which never happened. And I remember seeing photos of this. Again, it's pretty faithfully reproduced. You do see the infamous 5-spoke Maisto wheels that, you know, probably a third of their lineup in fresh metal has. Not a bad car. You know, no details to say in the back except for the Bel Air badge. And I mean, you know, it's red paint, so I can understand why they didn't do the lights in red. Front is pretty well done though, so not bad, you know. Some quirky concept cars. And yeah, just gonna kind of condense these a little bit. There we go. And yeah, so we have next up the second to last Maisto cast that we're going to be looking at. This one I'm pretty happy actually to pick up, and I'll show you why. Just give me a second. All right, yeah. All right, so I've shown this car in the past, basically through, I don't remember what, probably maybe a Maisto video, premium video showcase or something like that. An older video, basically, that you can always go back and look for. I believe it would be Maisto, basically a Maisto special, a Maisto design special. But yeah, I've shown this one before. So this is part of the Players line of Maisto design cars with the metal base, rubber tires, and, you know, all kinds of cool little bits and bobs, you know, that definitely scream mid-2000s if we're talking about the modification style and everything like that. And I've always loved this one. You know, picked it up when it came out off the pegs, and had it for 15 plus years, I guess, at this point. Maybe 15 years, 12 to 15 years, not exactly sure. And I did actually manage to find the mainline version of this in awesome condition. So here's your mainline one. So plastic base. You know, the multi-spoke wheels kind of work. They kind of look like SL55 wheels, basically. So I know that the S55 that I just showed you, you know, is clearly stated as an S55 as it was on the package. This one, I don't see dual exhaust tips, so I'm assuming it's a more basic one, maybe in an S500, S430, something like that. But yeah, not as detailed, obviously. You know, you can see that there's a lack of interior, blacked out windows, you know, plastic everything except for the body. But, you know, they still did the lights, front and back. They did the grille. You got the Mercedes logo. Obviously, it's not the Rays Mercedes logo, so it's not an S600. You know that. But, yeah. Pretty cool. I mean, I'm happy to add this to the Mercedes stash. I mean, it's a cool casting, and this generation of S-Class hasn't been done a gazillion times by a bunch of different companies, so it's always cool. And the last Maisto that I actually picked up is this really cool little Baja style Volkswagen Beetle. And I'm really happy about this one because of specifically the wheels. Now, these wheels were probably the best Maisto mainline wheels that were produced. And there's a specific version of this bug that is actually the most valuable and the most sought after, should I say, Maisto fresh metal mainline that has been produced to date. Now, what you need to look for if you want that specific version is you need these specific wheels. So you can see they're a little bit concave. They've got some lip, and they're actually painted silver as opposed to just chrome plated for the actual rim. But you need to get it with this livery. If you find this livery, orange livery with the Hayes logo and the black details, but on these wheels, as opposed to the later version, which are definitely not as desirable. They're convex as opposed to being concave. It's just chrome plated. It looks cheaper, basically. If you find bottom wheels, top livery, that is the most sought after fresh metal Maisto bug or Maisto fresh metal cast that you can actually find. Now, these do have a factory defect in the sense that this is very, very loose, and they are like that from the factory. This was very loose, but I did add a little bit of glue just to make it a little bit stiffer, so as to make sure that it would hold in place. I was just fearing it would break off, and I thought, it's just wear and tear, but no, they're all like that. They're very, very loose. So, but yeah, and I mean, this in proportions and the way that it's made, it's the most realistic. If you compare it to the equivalent Hot Wheels or Matchbox casting of this kind of Baja bug. So yeah, really happy to add this one. And second color wave. This one I did add just a couple details. I did the front lights and door hinges, door handles, and just a little bit of red there for the rear lights. But besides that, it's all stock. This one, I probably won't even do the same. I'll probably just leave it as is. Or maybe I'll just do the front lights to hide that big chip that's on the front light there. Both of these aren't mint anyways, right? So it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so there's my non-Hot Wheels finds. So obviously that means that next we will be checking what I found if we're talking about Hot Wheels. So got a couple of those and decided just to... The Hot Wheels casts, I decided to just pull up a couple fun facts for each, basically. And I know this video is going on half an hour here, but we'll try and go through it as quickly as possible, but, not too quickly. And I'll go from, to me, least interesting all the way up to most interesting. So first cast, basically, that I actually didn't have a version of. So, I'm kind of happy to pick this up, even though it's not my forte, would be the Dodge Challenger Drift. So this is actually I believe this is the third color wave, maybe fourth color wave of this cast, and the original that came out in 2015 was based on Samuel Hubinette's Formula Drift car. So it's a real car, technically. The wing's awful thick, but it's got to be, because otherwise it'll break off. And I like the fact that it's in a Mopar livery, so it just makes it less fantasy looking. I like the blue wheels in front and chrome wheels in the back. Very cool. Not the most detailed cast, but it's an okay livery, and it's got a great burnt orange color that Hot Wheels does like to do, and I like the paint color. I like that paint color. So that's pretty cool. Next up, this is kind of an oddball, but it was in there, and why not? We have a mini van, Morris mini van, basically. And this is an art car. You got the kind of like weathered Union Jack and livery on the sides. And what I really find cool about this is the wheels. Look at this. I haven't seen this on other main lines, but they're kind of like two-tone wheels, but they've got like kind of like a fade. See, this one goes from green to blue. This one goes from purple to blue, although that one's missing a little bit of chrome plating. We've got another green to blue here, and this one goes from silver to red. So I found that was pretty cool. Definitely not my favorite livery of this, but hey, at the end of the day, it is definitely not bad. I mean, it's a cool little cast, and I think it's my first Hot Wheels one, because I do have a couple Matchbox ones, at least one, maybe two. So that's gonna be fun to compare eventually in another later video. These straightened up a little bit because we got more to go. Let's see. Next one we have, yeah, we've got a very cool 67 Chevelle, part of the Flame series. This is a 2016 release. Not a cast that I'm overly fond of, because I don't know why, I think it's probably the wheel setup that makes the casting look a little bit off in its proportions. It's still a good looking car though. I like the gloss black, the yellow flames with the blue outline. Looks pretty badass. Chrome for the front, chrome for the rear, obviously. We got a light blue interior, almost aqua seafoam type color. Just kind of cool. It's kind of unusual. Yeah, and I only have one other version of this casting, and it's there was a release of this casting. I think it was 2019 or 2020. It came in two color variations. It's got a shop decal on the side. It first came out in blue and then in yellow. I have the blue one that's carded, so this one's going to be the loose variety that I'm going to add to the collection. I mean, I love Chevelles. It's not my favorite year, but it's a good looking car still. All right, next we've got oh yeah, this one's got a cool setup. It's a cool colorway here. We've got the 71 or 72, 71 El Camino, so with the single front lights, as opposed to the 70 that has the twin front lights. Well, 70 and older actually, including the Chevelle. So 71, it's got the white lipped wheels. It's got a nice purple metallic paint with some white and pink accents. It's got the Ed Pink's garage logo on the side, and what I love about this one specifically is the fact that it's not the El Camino with the big engine in the box. Basically, it's really more like a slam shop truck. You've got the side exit exhaust. You know, it's a good looking truck. This is a cool fact about this one, actually. This came out 2015. It's actually a Junimai of Kaido House fame, a Junimai design. So that's kind of cool, right? Got a lot of Chevys, I'm noticing. Quite a few Chevys, which is cool. I like Chevys. All right, well, staying in GM, but kind of venturing away from Chevy, we've got this really cool Buick GSX. This is going to be the third cast, second loose that I add to the collection. I've got one carded part of the Detroit Steel series, I believe 2019. They were recently reissued in a different series, a Walmart exclusive series. You know, change the card, keep the model kind of thing. This one, I thought at the beginning was part of that Zamac wave from what, 2018 or 2019, but the like a 8 or 10 car again Walmart exclusive collection, but it's actually not. It's actually silver paint, and this is actually 2014 release, part of the Heat Fleet. But I checked on the 2018 release of the Zamac, and it's actually the exact same car. The only difference is the flames, instead of being red with a blue outline, they're yellow with a blue outline. And instead of having a chrome base like this one, you got a black base. But overall, same wheels, same, you know, well, obviously it's not silver painted, it's unpainted there, but same flame job, same wheels, same badging, same details, same everything, except for replace red with yellow, make it a Zamac, and make the base black. So all this basically would be black, as opposed to being, well, mostly chrome still. So that I found that was a cool little thing. Let's see. Next, we have a Lancia Stratos, and I'm actually going to pull the first edition of this actually as a compare, because it's an interesting little tidbit. So I do have the first edition of the Hot Wheels Lancia Stratos, and this specific version, basically, that I found in that thrift store grab bag is the first release. It's part of the Hot Wheels race team, which is pretty darn obvious in views of the fact that it's got the Hot Wheels livery and it's that Hot Wheels metallic blue. But this is actually the first version of the revised casting. So obviously, you know, it's all about cost cutting and whatnot. So a lot of times you'll see casting revisions to eliminate moving parts and of course to add more plastic and remove some metal, which obviously is more expensive than plastic. So if you look at the rear, you'll see where they actually revised the tooling. First, you see there's more metal on this first release version in the back. If you look at the base there, the gray base, you see how high it goes in between the two rear lights, whereas the license plate frame is definitely part of the body as opposed to the base on the first release. If you flip it around, well, actually, let's check upside down. You'll see also that the revised tooling has 2 rivets as opposed to 1. And the base inserts itself in the front grille to make a front grille detail as opposed to it not doing so on the revised casting. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, really nice blue, and I love those orange, chrome orange OH5s. Those look really good. So I'm really happy to add another Stratos. This is going to be, I think, remaining in the collection now that this is number 3. I had a couple more that I sold, or I know I sent one to my buddy Jake at Strictly Diecast as well. Another cool cast that, you know, obviously I don't care how many color variations I have. I'm going to pick up every single one that I find. This is the second one, actually, loose, that I managed to pick up. It's the Hot Wheels version of the Porsche 911 GT3. This is the 997 generation. I do have the matte green version of this, and this is the third version with the revised tooling. Now what I want to do is the same thing here. I just want to pick up my other version because I'm actually not sure if this is the same tooling or if it's not. Yeah, I think both of these are the same tooling. Yeah, so I have this green satin green version that I had a few details to. I had all the lights and the grills and all that good stuff. Basically, kind of looked like that before, but in satin green. So now you got the rear lights, you got the exhaust done. You know, a little bit of silver for the mirror lenses, the side indicators, and those front lights, as well as those grills just below the Porsche logo. So yeah, this one is same tooling basically. Unfortunately, I guess I do not have a revised one of the older toolings of this car, but you know, I'm assuming it's probably the wing that used to be plastic as opposed to being part of the cast. Could be. But yeah, this is the 8th release overall. Was released as part of the Nightburners in 2015, which is one of my favorite series from Hot Wheels. So that's pretty cool. You know, I'm always happy to add a new Porsche to the collection, so not gonna complain there. Yeah, so we'll finish off here with a couple heavy hitters. So the only JDM casting I actually picked up is one I'm pretty happy about. Because I didn't have one of these loose, and these are hard to find up here in Canada because everybody is scalping and kind of like keeping them and, you know, hoarding them and all that good stuff. But yeah, I managed to finally find another EF Civic. I believe this is probably, I don't know, I think this is maybe the same one that you might have seen Mr. Strictly Diecast show off as being his first Hot Wheels that got him into collecting. I think this is the one. Jake, let me know when you see this video if it is the case. But yeah, finally got it loose. It's not mint, but close to it. Wheels could use a refinish. Tampo's not in the best of shape, and there is a chip right here. But besides that, it's pretty darn clean. Even the corners of the mirrors are exempt of flea bites, so that's pretty cool. Again, 2015 Nightburners, same series as that Porsche. And there is a wheel variation for this. There is a variation that comes with black OH5s as opposed to these red chrome PR5s. So that's always cool. And this is one that I believe would look really good with a few details and a wheel swap. So yeah, let's see what happens. Love the fact also it's a JDM version. So this would be a SIR. So there you go. Last but definitely not least, my last find is this very awesome Ferrari Daytona 365 GTB with the infamous V12 in the front mid-engine position. Definitely not perfect, but I didn't have a Daytona in the collection, notwithstanding which brand, which scale, or whatnot. And it's such a looker. These are so good looking. And this is actually a 5-pack exclusive out of a Ferrari 5-pack that came out in 2009. So, assuming it's kind of rare as a livery. It's not my favorite livery. I like the stock ones better, but this is really nice. I mean, you know, casting is, you know, slightly flawed if you look at the molding here. There's definitely a molding defect there. But, yeah, overall, it's in decent shape. You know, the axles aren't perfect, but, you know, especially this wheel in the back here, you can definitely see the axles a little bit warped. But overall, you know, it's got most of its paint. You know, I kind of like the fact that it's got the little 188. Probably be adding tiny little spots of red on the back for the lights, because those are just there and ready to be detailed. Same probably for the front lights. But I don't know. I tend to keep the Ferraris pretty stock, but this one, since it's not perfect, I mean, it's not like it has a huge amount of value. It's not on card, let alone mint. So there you go. That's pretty much the extent of the haul that I managed to amass through a couple visits to my local thrift stores. Hope you enjoyed. I know it was a longer video, but you know, if you did enjoy and you stayed till the end, well, first, thank you for your patience. Secondly, of course, appreciate you know, any type of comments or feedback that you'd like to leave in the comments. Of course, hit that like button, always is encouraging, and you know, subscribe if you want to be advised of when I upload next. So till then, I'll wish you best of luck on your hunts. Hopefully you find what you're looking for, and of course, stay safe out there, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.